Good morning, traders. Today is the 9th of July. My name is Neville Hornsey, market analyst of YouTrading, and today I'm going to talk about the British pound versus the Canadian dollar. Okay, starting with the YouTrading economic calendar, we've got that earlier on today. GDP estimates for the UK came in under expectations and worse than the previous month's reading. Also, for the quarter on quarter, it came in at 3.6%, which is great, but it was better than the previous quarter. However, it was under market expectations of 3.9%. So GDP data, not so great for the UK. Later on, we've got Canadian data, we've got employment data and their wages data. So that could be a Canadian dollar mover. Looking at the heat map on YouTrading, we can see that the British pound is mixed. It's doing better against the euro, the dollar, the yen, and the Swissy, but not doing so well against the commodity pairs. Commodity pairs like the Canadian dollar are actually doing really good. It's not necessarily across the whole board. The Canadian dollar is not beating the Aussie dollar currently. However, the yen is absolutely getting smashed. So that is, the opposite of yesterday. Yesterday was more risk off. Today is more of a risk on environment. So commodity pairs are going to do better. Safe havens like the yen and the Swissy should do worse. Right, moving on to the active trader platform. If we look to the GBPCAD in the sentiment indicator here, we can see that 80% of traders are bearish the GBPCAD, which is an extreme sort of reading. And I would normally be looking for to go long. This is the daily chart. So if we go to the monthly chart of the British pound versus the CAD, if I'm looking to go long, I want to go from support. Unfortunately, on the monthly chart, we're in the middle of the range that sort of started back in 2016. So this is the UK referendum to leave the EU. And then we've kind of been in this range between, 1.59 all the way up to 1.81. We're in the middle of that, obviously, here. You can see that we're around the 20 and the 50 period moving averages, which are twisted together. On the weekly chart, you can see that we're actually making a bit of a bullish move this week. And we've got above last week's high and also the sort of swing high from mid-June. We've broken above this trend line. So the next target to the upside would be 1.75, which would be great. On the daily, here you can see we're above that previous swing high. So if I just mark that in as that would have been where stops were. So we accelerated through there, took the stops, and now we're kind of just coming back down to sort of test that. Obviously on the daily chart, if we were to take out yesterday's low, then I'd be looking for a retest of that trend line that I sort of pointed out before, which would mean that the 200 daily moving average here would not be acting as support, but we'd be looking for support at the 20 and the 50 down here at 1.715. So yeah, if retail traders kind of want to go short, I'm looking for reasons to go long. British pound versus US dollar is finding support at the 200 period moving average. That's great. There is a potential for a sort of sweep of this double bottom low here. But at the moment, if we were able to get above yesterday's high on the British pound versus US dollar, that'd be great. And I would be looking for a move up to the 20 period moving average here at 1.38. That'd be great for the British pound versus the CAD. Obviously, for the British pound versus US dollar to go higher, we need the dollar to come lower. It has sort of made this sort of pattern that I do actually quite like, where you consolidate, you test, extend to the upside of that consolidation period, then test below. And then if you were to draw a line through the middle of that, that's kind of where this price action got to yesterday. So this period here was really key. They've extended above and below, and now they've retested the middle of that. It did act as resistance, and so 92.5, so $92.50 on the index is kind of my current resistance. I'll be looking for the dollar to come lower. If the dollar comes lower, then we want to see oil go higher. Oil's in this really sort of long uptrend. It's found support at the $72 per barrel, which is great. And, that's where it closed above. It's brilliant. the extreme was more like $70. That's kind of like the real floor. We don't want to see oil come any lower. We would like to see this sort of dollar come off, and that would mean this 200 period moving average on the dollar CAD would actually be like serious resistance, which would be great. If you look to the left, we do have this sort of period here where there's like an area of balance between March and April. So that sort of month worth of balance there is acting as resistance. There's obviously still some sellers there. However, if we do get above yesterday's high, then we're above the 200 period moving average, and then this cup and handle chart pattern projects all the way up to 1.29. So just going back to the pound CAD, obviously if the dollar CAD comes off, that will drag the British pound CAD lower. So that's going to be sort of mixed sort of reading, if you like. If the British pound versus US dollar goes higher, then that may override what I just said about the dollar CAD. Idea is to sort of look for a higher time frame trend. So we are making higher highs and higher lows on the daily. And if we go down to the hourly, you can see here that there was this period where we found resistance, tried it again. So that's the 1.72 was resistance. And then, it basically became support on the first test. And obviously just recently, this morning, it became support again. So pound CAD, if we are going to go higher, I want to see a couple of things first. Obviously, I want to see a new higher high on this hourly chart. I'd like to see a close above the 20 period moving average. I'd like to see us get above this sort of downsloping trend line. And then for me, I'll be looking for a reason to go long off support. So if we do get a higher high and a higher low, then that's the reason I'll be looking forward to get long. So just recap, pound CAD, we're going to be targeting yesterday's high. We're going to wait for a breakout, a retest, and continuation. Where we're wrong is if the pound actually does come down with the dollar CAD. So if the pound CAD follows the dollar CAD, then we're wrong if prices break down, come back up, test this old resistance, which then became support, and then becomes resistance again, and then for a test lower. So if we go lower than the 1.723, I'm going to say that this long idea that I had to fade the retail traders is invalidated. So ideally, British pound versus US dollar leads the way. I'm not looking for massive moves today. We're on the hourly chart essentially, and we're just going to look to see if we can get to this previous swing high. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It is a Friday, so the markets could be a bit volatile. If you've made some money this week, or if you make some money on, say, this trade, try and keep it, go into the weekend happy, and I'll see you next week.